lie. Welcome to the players' loud. Yeah. When no other moment, man, it can't compare due to the obvious.
Everybody, welcome back to another edition of the 48-Hour Rule, a UteNation podcast. As always, I'm your host, Alex Markham. Got my guys here again with me this week, Derek Tuimauga and Zack Moss. How we doing, boys?
Chilling.
Good, all good.
Yes, sir. And then one of my all-time favorites, Doc Holliday. Coach Holliday, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are y'all guys doing?
We're doing awesome. We're doing awesome. Hey, and it's a fun season to talk football as opposed to last season, right?
Talking ball is always good, but I'll take it for this.
So Zach and I have already done the post-game reaction from the Baylor game. Just complete. I actually wouldn't call it an annihilation. That annihilation hit as soon as they realized they needed to do something with putting Bird in the game. And then, Sean and everybody ran wild, right? But crucial game to get out of the way. another blowout. Derek, Doc, I'm curious both of your perspectives on it real quick, and then let's just kick into having some fun.
From my perspective, I think what jumps out is when the offense is dominant up front, it works. The only concern that I have is the pass game, which we haven't seen just take off. But, obviously, the offensive line is so dominant when you're averaging 3.5 yards of rush before contact, which is impressive. If Zack Moss, every time he touched the ball, was 4 yards, basically you're on the second level before you get touched. I can't imagine how much Zack Moss would have rushed for. I think the other thing that jumps up, that freaking freshman, that kid is good. Mm-hmm. He's got some what I used to call J.U.Ice. He can flat out go, and you can't beat that. Zach is back there laughing because he's heard it so many times at practice. So, if you got that J.U.Ice, you can go, and he's got it. So it's I think it's dominating. I think the thing that was, I won't say discouraging, but jumped out is Baylor moved the ball early. And obviously the pick six helped, but it's very few times you see a Utah defense, and my time around Utah of seeing a team put together an offensive performance like that.
For sure. Derek, what were your thoughts, especially, anything in general, but obviously the trenches, since you're the go-to on that, man?
Yeah, Coach hit right on the head. Like, I don't think people really can fully appreciate what that means, that we are getting to second level 3-4 yards downfield before a running back even gets touched. That is unbelievable. Those are things that you just can't fathom. As a fan, and really people appreciate it now because it's a rarity. It truly is. And so it would be cool to get Coach's perspective on the wide receiver, the throw game, how we're trying to get third level. Zach's had some great takes on this all season. I think he's really spoken well to kind of the struggles of it, how, if it will ever translate this season, or is our identity set and we're just going to be what we are in that regard. It'll be cool to get Coach's perspective. Ask a little bit of questions about that. My last take is, remember we did the score prediction? I think we were all low. That was crazy to me. Because, hitting over 50 again is something that, frankly, I'm not super used to seeing when it comes to Utah football, especially against, top tier Power 4 conference teams. Say what you say, Baylor has dogs on their team. They're not a light program. They're not a FCS school, FCS school.
FCS, yeah.
And so he's dominant all around. Excited to jump in more to the conversation today.
Derek, man, you got something different going on. You got those glasses, man. You actually look Stanford smart. Since I know that they recruited you back in the day. I never saw it match up until now.
Man,
Well,
you
I
know,
wouldn't hold on, hold on. He doesn't look Stanford smart. He looks USC smart. I mean,
hey, I
let's
appreciate that.
clarify
I appreciate
that.
that. Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry
oh,
about that.
hey, Doc, since I had to go that route on Derek, you were saying something funny to Zach before we got on this. Let's hear it, and let's have you finish it, because I cut you off saying, like, man, you got to save that.
Well, it's funny because I knew who Zach was, and knew, obviously I recruited Miami for years, and so I was already familiar. And obviously, Dennis recruited Zach, Coach E. But when he showed up on campus, I'll never forget. I had already known what he was going to look like, but he walks up in the team meeting where all the freshmen introduce themselves, and if you could have seen the looks on the players' faces and probably some of the coaches, Zach looked like he was 30-year-old grown-ass man coming out of high school. I mean, that Joker had traps already. He had everything. He was put together. You like, okay, I want to go in the weight room he lifts at. And then you just realize after being around him, some people just have some God-given genes, and he was blessed with that for sure. And but no, Zach, it was hilarious just to watch the faces. I can only imagine what the other running backs were thinking, like, oh no, you got to be kidding me. This guy, but he definitely looked the part without a doubt.
But then, didn't you say he looks like he's 40 now?
I mean, I may exaggerate. 38, I mean,
I'll take
I
it.
don't want to. The one thing about the NFL, which Zach will tell you, it ages you really fast, like one way or the other. If you're in that grind trying to make it, it ages you. If you're out on the streets partying, it ages you. And a couple hits, it'll really shut your body down. So he's probably 38, going on 52 at this point.
Zach, man, what are some of your favorite memories of Coach Holliday?
Definitely when he talks about, J.U.Ice. Like, it was never a day you weren't going to hear him talk about that. It was every single practice, probably 50,000 times on game day. I'm surprised he don't got that gum in his mouth. That's that's what I'm really surprised about. Right?
I have to be more mellower person now, Zach. You're training athletes of all different levels, so
Yeah.
I can't quite show out like I used to. But believe me, I still chew 2 packs of gum, one on each side, whenever I get it. And he knows the managers used to bring my gum supply. That was like one of the things.
Literally, for real, for real. And if you needed gum, there was only one person to go to. You never had to worry about, oh, I don't got none. He always had it on him.
Sure
Always.
did.
Oh, Doc,
He won't tell you about some of the moments when Coach E was leaving and I had to bust his tail standing in the back and make him run, because Zach had this gear. There was game gear and there was no gear, which was his practice gear. So he would just kind of cruise through crap, and I would get this look from Wit, like, really, you gonna let him do that? I'm like, I don't coach him. And so I had to go stand back there and freaking scream at him a little bit, then put my arm around him and say, come on now, you making my damn job really too hard. Can I just focus on one thing at a time? But Zach had those gears now. He wasn't a diva, but he was pretty damn close. I'm just going to tell you.
Zach, how
Yeah,
do
I
you
did
feel
not like
about that, man?
practice. I did not. I was not a practice guy, like, at all. Like, that was easily. Like, it's weird though. In NFL, like, I took it way more serious and Coach Holliday used to tell me. I remember he used to tell me here and there, definitely, about, like, just, this is what you got to do in the NFL. Like, there is no way you can just, crawl through practices and just go show up on game day, right? Like, and that was something that always stayed in my mind when I got to the league. But definitely in college, yeah, no. I was the first year for sure, 16, freshman year, it wasn't gonna work. It wasn't gonna work because, like, growing up in Miami, like, it's either you had it, or you don't, right? Like, that's what it was. Like, you got to think about all the people that come from Miami that's in the Hall of Fame and things of that nature, right? Like, I seen some of those dudes, and it was like it's either you had it or you didn't, and that was always my mindset. And I was like, man, practice. And Coach Witt, we've talked about it before, like the way he runs that ship, right? Like it's hard. It ain't no just walk in the park type of days, especially now with all of this how it's changed now. Like Coach, I don't know how long you've been if you've been back, but they don't even have a pit anymore.
I know that's amazing. I talked to Witt quite a bit, and I guess I soft is the wrong word, but you got to keep your players nowadays. I mean, Zach, I'm an old school coach, and I believe in foot and ass syndrome. Like if you don't give me what I want, it's going to be foot and ass, and you won't live it down, and so I can't even imagine like not being able to coach hard and to have to pull back. And I think one of my favorite sayings I used to say, and I'm not going to beg a player to play a game that saved my life. And so it's really that part of the game is probably hard, but not having a pit there and not having the one thing about Utah that attracted me to Utah was the tough mindset and the physical toughness. And so that's what always caught my eye. And the one saying I always loved, we aren't going to become you, you'll become us. And I won't, those things I will carry with me forever. And and Zach is right. I believe that, and I would tell him, like, you're an NFL player, but you got to learn to practice like an NFL player because your ass will be out the door in a heartbeat. Don't nobody owe you anything. And you'll learn that when you get to that league. But then I told him the other day when I talked to him on the phone, I said, it's funny, I can tell you, but they can show you. And that's a difference. And but that those days, man, to go back and think about them, the Tim Patricks, Zack Mosses, Tyler Huntley, because that was a character too now. And Killer, we were talking about Killer the other day, Donovan, who I recruited and had to beg them to take, basically. Um, it was the mindset was kind of like when I was at Mississippi State. Okay, you may win this game, but we're gonna win this fight. And that was like after you played Utah, the next game you were probably gonna lose because we were just gonna physically beat the hell out of you. And I always admired that about Witt and his mantra.
You talk about Tyler Huntley. What does everybody think of his new grill lately? And then all of a sudden, he is a progressive star.
Hey, that commercial was fire. I was like, man, he's got to do a whole run. He's the new State Farm for progressive insurance. I was like, the backup quarterback, like safe in those hands. I was like, man, Huntley's got some skills, man.
I love the whole concept of the commercial, like with Snoop, obviously, and I played with Trubisky, and I've seen him on there a few times and stuff like that. So I love like whoever came up with the idea was super super smart because you get to put NFL faces on a commercial and stuff like that, and it was just smart marketing. But yeah, Snoop's new grill is pretty good.
Well, let me tell you, that commercial was awesome, but I hadn't seen it. And I walk in the house and my wife says, "Oh my God, have you seen Tyler Huntley's teeth?" I was like, "Why the hell am I looking at Tyler Huntley's teeth? What do I care?" She was like, "You got to see it." And so they rewound it. And I was like, "Oh my God, those some fresh teeth right there. Like I need to visit his dentist." So and she was, you know, it, Snoop is a character. I mean, if anybody's going to get a commercial like that, it's going to be Snoop. He is probably one of the most lovable people you've ever been around, and he is he could get you now. He could make you laugh. He would walk out and he knew I was certain things would piss me off. And we would be talking about athletes. He would always say, "Coach, your ankles." I was like, "Snoop, I'm half Samoan. Will you ease the hell up? I mean, you ain't never seen a Samoan walk around here with no little ankles." And he would just look. I was like, "I'll still beat your ass, though. I'm gonna tell you that right now." Right now. And I mean, that was just how I was with the players. They know me, they know they know what buttons to push, but they knew how far to take it because I think they realized, okay, this is a freaking fool we're talking to. You know, like this is we used to have this saying, and me and Zach just talk about it, real recognize real. And sometimes okay, he may be real. We better not try this one. So but we had a ball, man. I remember those times with Zach, and I don't we all went through some hard times. Damari Simpkins and the Hurricanes. I remember sitting there at the table with all three of them. We were talking about the Hurricane. And fortunately, it bypassed Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Didn't really have a big of effect because they thought it was going to be a direct hit. And fortunately, I think it went up the East Coast. So it was some good times.
Yeah.
Obviously with you guys overlapping and everything, and Derek, I want to get you involved here in just a bit, so I apologize, man, but just with their overlap and everything, Zach's talked plenty about the years with the program that maybe you guys didn't go to the CFPs, or maybe you guys didn't go to the Rose Bowls and win the conference championships, but like the 2017 to 2019 years really kind of laid that foundation that much more. And that's not taking anything away from any of the other years, right? It was just finally it seemed like something completely clicked, and it was just getting closer and closer, right? So, just take me through some of your fondness of those years and what you're going to remember the most, and maybe what some of your regrets to them are too.
You want to start, Zach?
Oh no, you go ahead and run with it. Zach's talked about it.
Oh, okay. I think for me,
on here actually, yeah.
the one that I remember the most, you want to talk about memorable moments. We went up to Oregon State and it was a freaking flood. Never been in a game like that in my life. I will never forget that game. It was a driving rainstorm, and we didn't know what we were going to do. I think we had a couple players hurt. We must have gave the ball to Corey Butler-Bird about 8 or 9 times, running speed sweeps, just getting him the ball however we could. We put him at quarterback some, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, when I tell you it was raining, the rain was blowing sideways. And not only was it raining, it was freaking cold as all hell. I think that was like unbelievable, just a memorable moment for me. I'd never been in a game like that. I think getting there and seeing, when I think back, that freshman class of Zach, Tyler, Damari, and so many, Garrett Bowles, who obviously wasn't a freshman, but he was on the team at that time. Those guys, it was special. And you look back, I look back now at Asiata, who's Isaac, who's back in the program. There was a bond, a Utah bond, that it was just different than a lot of places that I've been. And I don't think, people can appreciate it. We didn't have, for a lot of us, like myself, Zach, we're kind of double negatives around there. I mean, I wouldn't say Utah is the most diverse city in the world. And then not being LDS, which you always had that, we were all kind of finding our way. I'd been in Utah, obviously down the way at another school, and even then, coming to Salt Lake City was just. It was different, and so we all bonded together. And then you deal with Witt's a hard ass now. I mean, he Witt is a different breed of cat now. I mean, that man takes losing harder than any human being I've ever been around in my life. I mean, so you knew you wanted to win, and you kind of like, oh my God, if we lose the game, you're walking on eggshells a little bit because he was going to fix it. And I think that the bond, the special bond. I think staying overnight in those dorms on campus during summer camp. You just kind of got this feeling like this is a real team. And even we had some outliers, some every team has its share of knuckleheads. And hell, I coach receivers, so probably 50% of them always fell in my room. But you just you just, man, you had this bond and this pride, like that was it was really good. And then dealing with, I think we had a couple injuries. Zach got hurt, and then we put out Joe Williams. We bring him off the freaking IR basically, and this joker running up the field like he ain't never been. I was like, who the hell is this guy? You know, he's like, they're like, oh no, he ran. I've heard so many times that people run 4.3, and then I watched. I was like, okay, this cat can really run.
Yeah, that's
You
what.
know, and yeah, that's legit 4.3. That ain't no made up. And you know, we were dealing with all kind of things, and to go to the even the bowl game was fun. We beat the hell out of Indiana, and Snoop got some plays, and just to watch, I think that freshman class because we all came together, and it was a lot of fun, and you could sense because I don't think that you know the Miami connection was never real, and I don't if you've never been to Miami, you don't understand the pride that comes out of Miami football. Now, don't get me wrong, you got some you got some there's some other stuff you have to deal with because Miami people are built different. Like their players are built to talk. They don't shut up. I mean, it's in their DNA. And so a lot of times when you bring people into that, it's like, well, for me, I was used to that. I mean, I've been recruiting Miami, so you know, and you got these guys that's 3,000 miles basically away from home and never seen snow and never really seen mountains, and so you form this bond that's you know it is what it is, and we just really I enjoyed every moment with them. And I mean it was some tough times now. I mean because you know we always had guys in any program you're in, you're going to have some guys that kind of step off the path sometimes, and you got to be there to love them. And the one thing I always appreciated about Wit, he let you stand up for your players. If you went in there and sat down and said no, we're not going to do this. I don't want to get rid of that kid. He was like, okay, that's on you. You save him. So I always appreciated that about him. And one thing I don't think he gets enough credit for, he is the master of second chances. I mean, you know, I will give him all the credit in the world. Now it helps that if you can play. Like let's not, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and BS you. That part helps a lot, you know, and then just the trips we took, and it we just had fun. Football was fun, you know. I mean, even up, I won't ever forget the game against Washington, and Witt came down, and A-Rod was on the headsets. He was like, "What do you want to do?" And I can't remember what we called the play, but we had a little slot Coop that walked on, and I said, Witt was like, "You're really going to let him do this?" I said, "Yeah." He can do it. And he runs a out and up, and he's wide ass open. And that damn Buda Baker, who's with the Cardinals, every time I look at him, I can't forget that he freaking tackled Coop, and nobody even called a thing. Reached out, it's a touchdown. It's going to be the tying touchdown. And knowing we were going to go for two. And so you look back at those things and those people, Kendrick Young, and I mean, we had some now. Kendrick Young was, shoot, if you could say batshit crazy sometime, that was Kendrick. You know, he was going to push you, but that was my guy. You know, he was you just held on to him. Tim Patrick, you know, and people that didn't even know who Tim Patrick was, and he has this breakout year, and we it was fun. It was fun. That was to watch that team grow, and then to watch what you appreciate as a coach as you watch people mature, and you could see it. Zach and Damari were a lot more mature, I think, in their lives at that point than some of the other guys that we had. You know, Zach always he was a sneaky little sucker. You know, he always had that silly ass grin. You know, he was up to something. You had to watch him, and then you know you had to check him to see if he was going to have the tampon in at practice or if he was going to go hard. You know, you had to check that. I know this is a podcast, but we had to check that sometimes. And but when he showed up on game day, he came to play. He just had to come to the understanding And it took a minute. Like, you don't practice, you don't play. This ain't high school now. You got to show up and get your ass to work. I know in Miami, you can just walk out because in Miami they play year round. They, people don't understand. Miami kids, they don't give a flying flip about the heat. They walk out in the grass. They don't care about mosquitoes. Them jokers get a ball out. They gonna play. They gonna play. That's just who they are. That's how they're built. And so you love that about them. Damari was the good one. He was just, I don't think I've ever coached a kid that was just a good human being. And he was never going to do wrong. And he was going to always do the right thing. So you just trusted him. Snoop, Snoop was edgy. He thought he was slick, came from a good family. But like most people from big cities, they're like, oh, they don't know about what I do. No, I know what you're doing. And so all that, watching those guys grow. And then I think for me, over that time with Tyler, because Tyler's from Miami. Miami guys got a certain talk or a certain slang. And it really pissed me off when I would hear people say, oh, he's not that smart. Like, oh, hell no, he's smart as hell. Y'all just don't understand. This is how people from Miami talk. Your ass never lived there. So don't try to tell me how smart he is. Like, Tyler was an NFL quarterback mind-wise as a freshman. I mean, he cared that much about the game. That that guy was one of the most competitive human beings I've ever been around. Like, and he was just a naturally born leader. And I think one of the other things, and Troy probably will never admit this. What's Troy's last name? Our quarterback at that time,
Williams.
Troy Williams. So
Yeah.
Troy was supposed to be, he from the hood, he this and that. So we're in the weight room. I won't ever forget this. He's going to challenge me. He's going, oh, coach, you can't fight. Let's. I said, you sure you want to do this, Troy? I slapped the shit out of Troy that day. And he looked, my handprint was on his face, and he turned around. I said, I told you, I grew up doing this. Like, I'm not fake. Like, and he just looked, and we just had fun. It was a fun team. Like, those guys I had so much fun with, and it was good because we all came in together. We all knew Whit didn't know us. We didn't know Whit, and Whit going to observe everything. Like, he's very observant. He watch everything you do, your work ethic. But the one thing I learned that year, if you can play ball, you can play for Kyle Whittingham. That's the bottom line. And he challenges his coaches. You got to get them to work. You got to you. That's your job. So and going on, I think the heartbreak of that year was losing to Colorado up there, and but man, the rest of it, you can't beat it. I mean, it was a great experience, and then going out to the bowl game in San Francisco. I mean, we had a ball. We had a ball, and we put it on Indiana's ass that year, and so that was good. But that mentality and watching these kids, like, you don't have to tell a kid from Miami to be tough. Like, you don't, they know what that is. Like, they've been coached hard. Like, Miami's not a place for soft people. Now, I mean, if you want to go up in North Fort Lauderdale, you might have a chance up there at Gibbons and some of those other schools. But when you come down in Miami and Dade County and just across Broward County, no, you getting they raise pit bulls. They're born. And that's how those guys came in. And to some people, it rubs some like, well, who do they think they are? And I would just sit back and laugh and like, oh, if only you knew. Like, if only you knew. Like, you talk about chopping wood, man, they don't worry about chopping no wood. Them jokers, they get up chopping wood from their birth, and that's all they know is hard work. And all they know is they don't respect a coach who doesn't lean on them. They know when a coach is soft, and they will, oh my God, they'll work you like you work cotton candy at the freaking circus. They just gonna eat it up. So I mean, those were my guys, and I just enjoyed it, every last one of them. And it was just a fun year, you know. And there was we played Arizona State, and I think the funniest thing I saw at Arizona State, and Dennis, you're not going to punk Dennis. And I remember him and Witt kind of getting in a little exchange, and I said, okay, this is good. This is fun, And I was used to that because I'm probably the same person. I'm not the one which Zach would tell you. My intensity level is always about the same. It don't change. It just depends on if I'm in a good mood or a bad mood. And I would walk in. Those guys didn't know me. I walk into my meeting room and say, "Okay, y'all, you can try me today, but I didn't get no sleep last night. I'm really pissed off, so it's up to you. You either take your ass out there and work hard, or you don't work hard. But the one thing you're gonna know, you're gonna run today, because that's what we did as receivers, and that's how I coach. And they would always go back to the other position groups and say, "God, I remember Zach coming up to me and said, Coach, I don't ever want to play receiver. I don't want to play receivers. Like, no, we're gonna run, Zach. That's what we do. So no, those things, man, it was just fun. And then the off the field, Pablo is man, he's a unique individual, and players loved him because he looked out. He looked out for everybody. And then Rudy walking around, Rudy put me in the mind. I can't even Rudy was a character, always had an answer for everything. And Doc, we got to do this. Doc, don't know. Doc ain't got to do shit. Like, I'm not. I hear you, but we're not doing that. So I mean, it was fun. And then A Rod and Jim Harding and watching how they work, and if you don't know me and been behind closed doors with me, I am not one to bite my tongue. And so I would say how I feel. If I thought something was wrong, if I thought one of my players uh, didn't get a fair shake, I didn't care. I'm gonna say it because that's what I always wanted as a player. Just be fair, and that was the one thing. And I told all my guys, if I'm a dick, I'm gonna be a dick to everybody. I didn't have favorites, and I don't think anybody can say I ever had a favorite. So that was the key to me, and then watching the talent and helping them understand, like, it's this level and then there's a next level which you can get to. And you all want to look at the glory, but I'm gonna tell you about the story and what it takes to achieve that glory. So that those relationships, man, I remember that like night and day. Sleeping in that damn dormitory up there, I hadn't slept in a dormitory in years, and it seemed like we always had the room that smelled like the person. I don't know. But it was fun. And then watching guys thinking they're gonna sneak out. It's like, come on, guys. God, like I wasn't born yesterday. Like I know what's going on. But those are the things I remember. And it was fun, even down to I think the following year is the year we recruited Jalen Johnson and brought in. It was just good times, man. And we knew how close we were. And I think the biggest thing for me in my time there was beating SC for obvious reasons, but we knew we were close. It was just a matter of getting over the edge. And unfortunately, a lot of getting over the edge sometimes was on the offensive side because we could always run the ball, but Witt has always wanted to throw the ball. That's what people don't understand about Witt. Witt, when he brought in Troy Taylor, he brought him in because he was told, "Oh, we're going to throw the ball all over the field." But the one thing about Witt, if you ain't successful throwing it, you better get that defense off the field. I can tell you that right now. So we're gonna run the ball, and we walk into meetings and I would go over and say, "Oh, we got this pass, this pass." And then I was always honest with the players. All right, don't wait on that one to be called. I can pretty much tell you we ain't getting to that. Like, we gonna practice this, but we ain't running that, guys. Let's go. And so I just always felt like, and they let me be me. That's the one thing I always appreciated about Witt. They let you be you. You didn't have to carry the company line, and the players let me be me. And they knew that yeah, I was going to be hard, but I always enjoyed the conversations after walking off the field, putting your arm around the player, saying, "Hey, tomorrow's a different day. Let's get it." And I remember practicing for the bowl game, telling Zach, "Look, we got to go, dude. Like, you got too much damn talent. I'm not going to fail you. I don't coach you, but I'm not going to fail you and let you sit around here and be a lazy ass douchebag. I'm gonna make you work. And he know. I mean, that's how I talk. People who know
Hey,
me. That's
real,
how I
real, real
talk.
quick,
I don't
though, real
bite my
quick.
tongue.
Zach, any response to that?
No, it's all true. Like I said, I was the furthest thing from showing up to practice. Like, I'll be there physically.
Yes.
Physically,
Yes.
I'll
See.
be there. But I already knew Saturday. Just turn around, hand off, and we'll
Yep.
figure everything else out.
The problem was he was there physically, but after about 7 yards, the physical went away. It turned into like a stroll. It's like, what are we doing? What are you doing? He's like, he was just so casual, and nothing you could say to Zach would ever. He always had the same look. It was like, and it's the give a shit meter look. Like, my give a shit meter right now is on really low, coach. So, and he's heard me say that you got to turn your give a shit meter up a little bit more. Like, let's give a shit right now, Zach. But man, to watch the growth from him his first year to his second year was unbelievable. And then I think the most memorable moments, I had gone through a winter workout before Zach got there. But no, you came out early, right, Zach? Were you there mid semester? Or
uh,
I can't remember.
Miss semester,
Yeah,
yes.
mid semester. So he went through the first winter workout. You got to go through that just to believe it. Like, winter workouts at Utah, that's a whole different deal now. There's more puke on that turf. Like, I used to walk around going like, I'm not stretching on this turf. They're pouring them little that stuff the trainers used to have, them little not tablets, but the little sprinkles. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really gonna get up the spit. Oh, that's great. Yeah, yeah, that works for me, but man, we had some fun. Like, those guys made my life so much fun, and just, and on game day, I'm not a hellraiser, so I'm more relaxed and calm. I feel like, if your ass didn't do it all week, why am I gonna raise hell right now? You ain't gonna do it now. That was my philosophy. Let's go hard, and Wit would be, Wit start gritting them damn teeth and all that, and on the headsets, Wit can get after it now, and I would just walk right past him and say, Coach, I got it, I got it. And he would just look at me with them damn beady ass eyes. And then eventually you develop this relationship where he would walk past me and say, will you get that? Get it, please. And it was anything. And I love that guy, man. I think I learned so much from him about just about how not to get rattled. Like, I've never seen Whit. I mean, we talking about a man that skis at 85 miles. Who the hell does that? I remember him showing me his damn speedometer on a picture, and it was 85. And he was like, "Look at this," and I'm like, "That's stupid. Like, I'm not putting my life like you. That's crazy, Whit. Like, you're unbelievable. Who does that?" And he's like, "Well, I love doing this." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you ski?" "No, Whit. I don't ski. I'm half Samoan. We don't do cold real well." And he would just laugh, and but man, we had some fun. Like, we had a good time.
So, Doc, we could, oh man, we could do stories with you all day. We're gonna have to get you on a bunch, because we all love doing this. We, just, it's usually me, Derek, Zach, and then whoever else we can get on, man. So yeah, we're just gonna have to keep going and going and going on this stuff, because there's just endless things to talk about with you, right? But there's two quick things I want to ask you about, and then let's kind of kick into relevant topics for this week. Okay. So first off, I applaud you for not saying the name of that team that you used to coach for and saying that they were in the state. I do have to give you crap though, because you didn't say the team down south. Can we get you to say the team down south?
Shit, TDS, team down south. How you want me to put it? I mean, you want me to say it? It's like when I refer to UCLA, and Zach's heard this speech a ton. They wear them damn baby blue uniforms. They soft as hell. You punch them in the mouth, their ass ain't getting back up, Zach. I'm just telling you right now. And he's heard that speech. That's the one speech they let me have every year. I can't stand them. Okay. It's just something about that baby blue that just irritates the hell out of me. But no, I'll say the team down south, and I'm, I love Utah. And I enjoyed my time there. But if someone said what's a better fit for me and my personality, I think it's going to be Utah because I can raise hell, and you can hear my voice a half a mile away, and if I drop a F-bomb, which I have done in my time, numerous times, nobody's going to be like, oh my God, you can't do that. Or if I holler at a player, like I think I've thrown players off the field when they weren't practicing hard. Nobody ever got upset. Zach knows right there. Get your ass off the field. I'm done with it. When you ready to go, come back out here and we can talk. But right now, you're not going to, yeah, I'm used to making chicken salad out of chicken shit, but right now we're just going from chicken shit to turkey shit. So come back out here when we can get some ingredients.
So the other thing I want to ask you about, and then let's kick into that stuff. One of the most legendary moments on the sidelines between Whit and another coach, and it wasn't you, right? But you were talking about Whit's demeanor and how he is with guys. What was your reaction?
Jim Harding?
Yes,
on national TV.
When you found out, yeah, take everybody through what he said and your reaction to it too. Obviously, that's the one word I try to keep off here.
No, I will never forget this. Whit was walking down the side. We're on national freaking TV, first of all, and Whit is on one now. He is on one, and he walked past Jim. And he said something to Jim, and Jim said, effing fire me then. And I looked, I said, you have got to be kidding me. I said, and Hardy, Jim is one of the most lovable human beings there are. I was like, okay, we dropped our nuts today. That's good. And then right after that, and it was on national TV, Jim and I are really close. I get this text. He said, you think I'm going to get fired? I was like, no, we won. We're good. We're good. We won. I said, and we were in the Sunday meeting, and Jim had already gone in and talked to Whit, but you could tell in Whit's face, he made a joke about it, like, if anybody ever says that to me again, you're fired. And the whole room just it was the offensive staff, and so me and Jim sat next to each other, and I don't think I've ever laughed any harder. I'm the only dumbass that's just going to, like, if Whit's talking, like, sometimes I just have to do it, and Whit just looks over at me and like, okay, Doc, really? Really? Is that where we're going? Or if I would walk, my office was right next to his, and I would get up and walk, and as the moment I walked in, he would close the door. Okay, what? Because only you're going to tell me the truth. And I'm like, yeah, well, let me tell you how screwed up this is. But no, Jim, I won't ever forget that, man. That's one of my best moments on the sideline. I was proud of Jim. I wanted to put my arm around him, but shit, I thought he was going to get fired. So, that took some balls now. I guarantee you he'll never do it again. that's, that's,
I
and
don't think any of us to stop laughing, and I literally just took that drink. I'm like, I better not take it. I better not take it because I almost spit.
That's one. Oh my God. I don't think I ever, man, I've had some great times, but that one got me. That is a all-timer. And then some of the things when Wick gets pissed and if he goes after Freddie, oh my God, it's hilarious. It is hilarious. I really have a story that Wick told me about. That I wanted one day after I get on enough and realize you guys like me, I'll tell you my
We
Freddie
love you.
story about what they did to him as a kid, and it cracked me the hell up. Well, I'll tell you now. They locked him in the sofa bed and was jumping on the sofa bed while Freddie was in it. And and so Freddie's like the pretty boy of the Whittinghams, in my opinion. Freddie don't come across like you meet Carrie and you like, okay, this will be a bar fight. He's had some drinks. You look at Whit, you like, oh, this is the guy that water skied butt ass naked with Jim McMahon on Lake Provo, and then you got Freddie, like, oh, that's the good guy. That's the real nice guy. So yeah, those were some great times, man.
I've actually heard Freddie's a lot more like Fred Senior was. Might
Uh,
be wrong, but I
you
don't know.
could be right. You know, the one thing I've learned about that culture is sometimes you always have to open up the real door and not the one that they show you, you know, to figure out what's going on. Because,
Yeah.
like, you cannot tell me that Witt didn't run hard back in his day. I don't give a damn what anybody says. First of all, I've talked to Jim McMahon myself, so I've heard some of the stories, and he had me dying. And then you know, Witt has a devilish side about him, you know, and we all know the one of the funniest statements that people repeat all the time, the black leather pants deal.
Yeah.
So, you know, at some point, Witt had a wild side. So he's just, but man, he's fun to work for. Like, people don't realize Witt is fun to work for until you lose, you know. And then that shit sucks. Like, I'm not going to tell you that. I've worked for two coaches in my lifetime that takes losing harder than any human beings I've ever been around. That's Jackie Sherrill and Kyle Whittingham. Hell, at Mississippi State, we lost one year, and we played a night game, and we got off the plane and had to go in and have the film graded. We couldn't even go home. And so, and then Witt, you just wish you stayed up there anyway, because when he came in, his hair was everywhere. It didn't look like he slept at all. You like, oh, Jesus, like this is going to be one of them. And when he came and sat in that room and he just started taking that deep breath, he would always take a deep breath, exhale, and said, okay, tell me about the game. And then he would go, the OC would go, and then he'd go around to each position. And it's funny to listen to all the coaches like try to like, oh, well, we got to just go harder and we got to do this and do that. And he would come around to me and I'd say, no, we sucked with. Like, we got to I got to get him to dig out the block. Like, it just sucked. And he would just look. And because I took pride in physicality. Anybody that knows me and been around me, I believe in physicality. And nothing pisses me off more than a soft ass football player. And at receiver, you can get some of those now. We all know you can get some of those. That hitting thing and blocking is not like high on the list. Like go in and block that safety. Yeah, okay. Uh, yeah. Oh, I couldn't get him. What the hell you mean you couldn't get him? He was 10 yards deep and he was not even running downhill. Well, you said block the most dangerous man. I thought the corner was. No, ass. You just see the safety weighs 210 pounds and you don't want to get the wood laid on you. Let's be real. So, and I mean, I think if you're honest with players, it just works best. If you try to coddle, I can't stand people that coddle players. Like, oh, it drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
One thing I can honestly say, I never coddled a player. That's not my strong point. So, yeah, but that's it, man. I mean, yeah, effing
Well,
fire me. That was a
yeah.
classic.
All the time.
Thank God we won that game, or Jim Harding wouldn't be the O-line coach at Utah right now. I can guarantee you that.
Oh man, he turned into a cult hero after that. That's all I know.
Oh no, he was unbelievable. I watched it myself, the replay over and over again. I was like, damn, that's awesome.
Well,
But then
what's
you ask
funny?
yourself, you pump yourself up. You like, am I going to do that? You like, oh hell no, I got to get paid. Like,
Yeah.
one person got away with it. I'm not going to risk this one.
What's funny with me with Harding, right, is like the casual fan would sit back and be like, "Oh God, he just did that. That just happened. Like he seems like such this nice guy, and he is, right? But when he lets his guard down, and you see that side of him, like I saw that him, like, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, it doesn't, because if you get on him on his, like, when his players aren't playing well at practice, you see it come out every now and then.
Yeah,
The one thing I'll say about Jim Harding, that guy cares more about his players than any human being I've ever been around. I mean,
yeah,
they ate more dinners and lunches. I was like, damn, I would go broke if I did that. Like, I mean, he would have them all over the house and the basement, and that's just Harding. I mean, he is special like that. I give him all the credit in the world. Me, we would go eat for a little bit, or they come over the house, and I ain't gonna lie, like I see them jokers all week. I'm like, I don't want to see your ugly ass again. Like, give me a break, you know. I need some time with my wife. Damn, I spend more time with y'all than I do my wife. So, you know, but Jim, it's a family affair. He's one. I'll say this. I think he is the best O-line coach that I've been around. And that's saying something.
Utah's extremely, extremely fortunate to have him, and that's a perfect segue with us talking about him to talk about this next thing and get Derek's perspective on this, man. It's senior day coming up, okay? And there's two guys that are not seniors, but they're two guys that are very likely leaving. It should be their last day. I know Spencer Fano is pretty much a lock to be gone. Caleb Lomu, as long as he gets his papers back where it says he's a first, that they view him as a first round pick, he's gone. If it says second, you might see him back, which would be insane, right? But take me through just what those two have meant to this team this year, last year as well, and just their evolution under somebody like Jim Harding, and why, I know it's a loaded question, right? So just take it wherever you want. But like these guys are going to be heading out, and then you have somebody like a Kelvin Obot coming in that is the number 3 player in the entire country. That's coached by former Ute Jordan Gross, but he's trusting him and pushing him towards somebody like Harding.
Yeah, I'll say more so just everything that Coach Holliday said with Harding. So when I was leaving, that's when Harding was coming in, and I that is one thing that I'm like, man, I wish I could have played a season or two underneath them, and unfortunately getting hurt and everything. Like, I remember having that conversation with him. My body was just broken down, and I was like, Coach, I'm just done. There all these issues, and like, but you could tell from even just a winter conditioning and spring of having him, just the kind of man that he is, and just how he connected so much with, especially the Polynesian players. All of us, we're a unique group. We need that tough love, but we also need somebody that will take us under wing, that we know that will fight for us and truly like love us for us. And he balances that so well. And I think that has been a trait that has led to so much success for a Jim Harding run offensive line through the years. And so, you look at guys like Fano and Caleb Lomu possibly looking to leave. I actually hope and I pray that they leave, because those men deserve to go make their millions and to go create that path for themselves and their families. And so I actually don't want them coming back. They shouldn't. They should be gone. And I think that's a testament where I'm going with this, is that behind them, yes, there's not a Spencer Fano or a Caleb Lomo ready to go, but Coach Harding has a stable of dudes that are going to be stepping up into that role. You mentioned Obot from Idaho. I've watched some of his film. I think that kid is crazy. Unbelievable talent. Seems like he's got his head on straight. And, I think what really speaks to kids like that is that they feel the genuine connection that Coach Holliday talked about, that Coach Harding has with his players. He'll take his shirt off his back and give it to a player at any point. And that, Coach Holliday said, when they're not performing, he's going to jump them. He's going to get on them. But he also gives them that leash to say, to correct themselves and to learn and grow. And so I can't say enough great things about Coach Harding. We won't talk about the coach before him, but one of the stories of Coach Witt, to Coach Holliday's point, was it was after a rough season and you doing your exit videos with Witt, your exit interviews with Witt, and he just asked me straight up, how do I feel about so-and-so coach? Now, I'm not saying that was the catalyst that got Harding into a role, but Coach Witt truly did care about his players' perception of who was coaching them and about the program. And that's something that I always took with me, was just his ability to take counsel from his players, and so That's probably a long answer.
No, you're good, man. You're good. So I'll ask you this. I'm curious, Zach's perspective on this, and even Doc if he wants to chime in. But there's been some great offensive linemen under Jim Harding. Okay, but immediately and instantly, the top three are Garrett Bowles, Spencer Fano, and Caleb Lomu. How would you guys rate those? Like, where would you guys rank them? 1 to 3. I'm really curious on this.
Spencer number 1, Garrett number 2, and then Caleb number 3. And that's not a knock on Caleb Lomu because
he's had 2 years.
Yeah, that dude's going to
freshman
years in the league. But yeah, I think Spencer reminds me. I'm curious, Coach and Zach's perspective, but you look at like Penei Sewell and what he does at the right tackle position. Like to me, that's a lot of what Spencer can produce at this next level that I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I would go with the same lineup. Honestly, I think you hit it on the head with Sewell. Like the ability that Fano does have and shows, like I think that'll separate him. Like Garrett was really good. Garrett's been, I mean, look at his pro career, right? Like he's a guy who's been able to be really consistent in his game and stuff like that. But when you talk about the ability to move, pull, right, shoot, you probably could even throw him in at guard sometimes if it was necessary. And he's athletic, right? Like getting those guys out, like that's going to be a big part of his game, obviously, wherever he goes next in that in the NFL. But like being able to get outside that box and run, pull, and those are the dudes. Like I played with Deion Dawkins, right? Like Deion's left tackle, he talked about a massive dude, like huge, but he could run and move, and he wanted to pull. He wanted to be one of those dudes out on screens, right? Like those are the dudes that are really, to me, we talk about offensive linemen are game changers, right? I played with Quentin Nelson. Like you're talking about a dude who's been a Pro Bowler, going to be in the Hall of Fame if he stopped right now, like at guard. But every time, if you watch a Colts game right now, right, like every time they run a play that has to do with a pull, no one's running that play outside of number 56. There's absolutely no one. And I believe I've never spoken to Fano, but I feel like he has the ability to do those type of different things. And there's nothing more that a running back wants than a guy up front that's just nasty. And that's going to go get it done and going to be in the right place and go put somebody. Like, it was times where 2 years I was in Indy, like, Quinn would get mad. BQ would get mad if you, like, did something wrong. Like if you wasn't reading it like him, like, if you wasn't legit, like, reading his play like him, he would be pissed, right? Like, he'll tell you in meetings, he'll tell you right on the field when it's happening, right? Like, different things like that. And, I mean, when you have a guy like that, that makes you, like, every time I went to a game when I was in Indy, I was never worried about anything. Like, I knew I wasn't gonna get hit behind the line of scrimmage. And all those dudes that we had there were really, really good. And I mean, you got a real good offensive line, it makes your job so much easier.
Doc, where would you rate those three from everything?
Well, how can you not put a Polynesian first? No, I'm just kidding. A Samoan first, but in all seriousness, I think so. Obviously, I'm not there with Spencer, but this is what I think is unique. Garrett, unbelievable athlete, but probably best athlete I've ever seen as an offensive lineman until I saw Penei in high school. And the thing is that Garrett is one-dimensional from the standpoint. Garrett is a true left tackle. And left tackles in the NFL are built for one thing: pass protection. And that's what Garrett does better than anybody in the league. And I mean, Garrett's probably going to play 15 years because of that ability. I think Spencer Fanu at this point in his career, compared to Garrett, is more complete. Garrett had to work. I mean, Garrett was on the bubble with the Broncos now. I mean, because my Tim was up there and my stepson was there. So I went up and spent some time, and I visited with Elway and the whole nine. And I mean, there were questions about his physicality. So But you also have to remember Garrett Bowles really didn't play any football until Utah. I mean, yeah, he went to Snow, but he went on a mission. I don't believe he played much in high school, if I remember the story correctly. So his upside was there. Spencer's a dog. I mean, you watch that cat on film, like, not only is he a mauler, which is what you want. So that tells you a guy like that, and Zach hit it on the head. That guy could play all 5 positions because he's athletic and he's a mauler. And you can't physicality between center guard and right tackle in that league is paramount. Is paramount because most people want to run the ball right because you have right-handed quarterbacks. That's how they open up, and the ball's always in the middle of the field in the NFL. And so I'm gonna say that I would put Spencer first. I would definitely put Garrett second based on the athleticism, and Caleb would be third. Which again, I mean, we're sitting here, oh Caleb, oh my God, he's third. The kid is rated possibly as a first round pick. So let's not act like. And to your question, eh, Garrett Bowles walked into my office at Utah, and everybody was telling him to stay. And I closed the door and I told him point blank, you get your ass out of here and you go. You're 28 years old already. Obviously, he wasn't 28, but in the NFL, and Zach knows, you have a shelf life. And that shelf life, generally for most guys, it hits between ages 28 to 30. Once you hit 28 in that league, shit, you old, man. I mean, you not only are you old, your body feels like it's literally 50. I mean, I don't think some people, if you haven't been at that level, the physicality of not being able to walk until Tuesday. I mean, basically, you roll out of your bed on Monday morning and you crawl to get to the freaking. You really don't want to look at film. You got to do it, but you really ain't in the mood for it. You trying to find the whirlpool, the first masseuse, and then you trying to find the next whirlpool to get hot, cold, hot, cold. So I mean, just walking is an issue, but that Garrett had to go, and these two kids, yeah, I mean, somebody wants to fire me from your podcast because I mean, you all paying me a lot. Um, their ass need to go. Like I mean, because that league, it's all about getting to the second paycheck,
Yeah.
the second contract, and 1 year is lost money. Now things have changed tremendously because I'm sure they're paying to probably pay that kid $1 million to stay, which that changes things. But in the big picture of it all, I'm going to make a lot more money in that league, and I want to get my career started. And the earlier you're drafted, the more opportunities you have. Let's be real. I mean, your first, second round pick, they ain't letting you go until year 3. They're gonna give you every opportunity. So my advice to both of them would be, hey, if you got a second round grade, I mean, how tall is that kid? 6'7". He's from down here in Phoenix.
Five,
When
6'6".
6'6". So when it
6'5".
comes to tackles, it's like trying to find, you can find good guards, good centers, but to find a true tackle, man, that tackle's worth his weight in gold.
Mhm.
And he's
Yeah.
playing left tackle, which means they must feel pretty good about his ability to pass block and his athleticism. So no, you got to go. I mean, I'm sorry. I know now all of Utah people going to be sending me direct messages,
Hey,
but it's
everybody's
okay.
gonna feel the same way, man. And it's
No, I'm just kidding. No, they got to go.
yeah. Honestly, they got to go. And I'll say this: like, everybody is spot on with how you would rate how you'd rank them. If Caleb was to come back another year, I think then that opens up another question to it, because if Caleb does come back another year, I do view him as potentially being a top 10, top
Oh,
5
he'd be
pick.
a top 10 pick, no
Yeah,
question.
100%. But again, when the money's there, you take it. I mean, he's a hot name, right? So let's get into winding this down here for you guys, and I'm gonna I usually do some over unders, but I think I'm gonna have another question for you guys. It's a pretty important one instead at the very end. I'm pretty sure you guys can already tell what it's gonna be, right? But this game coming up, Kansas State. Utah should beat them and beat them handily. These guys are decimated with injuries, just like Utah was last year. We looked at this game at the start of the season thinking it was going to be, potentially a fight for the conference championship. So, what are you guys looking for in this game? And, how do you guys see it playing out?
Go ahead, Derek.
I think very similar to Baylor. I think they probably need to get going a little bit faster. And to Coach Holliday's point, I think defense will be hyper focused on not letting a team get off to a hot start, as Baylor did last week. I think just the atmosphere, and you'll probably get to this question later, but knowing that it's senior night, there's going to be the pageantry of that. Blackout, they got their all blacks on, and I think there'll be a cool atmosphere. So I think guys will be hyped. I think they'll be ready. I think there'll be a lot of emotion from guys like Spencer, Caleb, that probably know that this will probably be the last time that they're stepping out there. And so I'm excited to see just a continuation of dominance on the line of scrimmage, continuing that front. I think that's business as usual. I'm loving seeing Wayshawn get going, the confidence that he's starting to have after a couple early season fumbles, and getting kind of in a rhythm is really fun to see. I think he's coming into his own unique personality, doing his little dance moves after a touchdown, and so that's fun, man. And seeing Bird create an identity of his own is a lot of fun. And then that freshman on the edge that can run that fly sweep is no joke. And so there's just some obvious weapons that I think I said this on X, it's really fun seeing this team starting to really gel and really come into their own at this point of the season, because a lot of these guys are new, right? The system's new. I think people forget that installing this brand new offense, having a brand new quarterback, running back, go down the list, thank God that we had an offensive line that we did, because that was the foundation that we could build upon. And I think we're finally there to where we are now able to be okay, we have an identity, and we're going to come into our own. So I'm excited, man.
That's a great point. Zach?
Yeah, I got us winning with no problem. I think it's similar to Baylor, but without the pass game, I don't think Kansas State has the ability to throw the ball a little bit over the field the way Baylor was able to. So, and they struggle with the run game. The yards per average, if you look at that just alone, that's in our favor. And like we talked about on the recap, obviously it's senior night. It's a lot of emotions. If I'm Kansas State, I'm coming in with the mindset of trying to be the spoiler, right? But if I'm thinking that, I already know that message is already being preached to those guys and things of that nature. And like I said early in the year, these guys are on a mission. They've had 2 games where they lost 2 tough games against some quality opponents, obviously. And I don't see anything changing on the ability to run the ball the way we have. We're ranked second in the FBS. That doesn't just stop out of nowhere. It's just not going to be a game where a team is going to be able to just, let's just stop that tonight, right? So we should have absolutely no problem. It might look similar to the Colorado game. We talked about Fick possibly starting and things like that. And, I mean, you put him in there, to me, is even weight. It's more explosive. With the home run ability, you got either him or Parker who can go take a home run and hit the head on the goalpost whenever they kind of want to. The way they game plan things, people don't give enough credit to the game plan. The game plan and how they use those dudes in the run game and stuff like that has been really, really, really good. And I'm sure Coach Holliday loves how the receivers block. Because you can't do none of them long runs without the receivers going and doing their job at the same time. So, like Derek said, it just seems like everything is clicking. And this is when you want it to, right? That's when good teams really, really wanted to, right? You don't want to be hot early, too early, right? You want to be one of the teams that kind of just be a little lukewarm, right? And now they catching fire right when they need to. I love to see the passing game come along. I love to see that. But like I said, the run game don't stop out of nowhere, and the passing game damn sure ain't gonna show up out of nowhere. So as long as those dudes, those five dudes up front, keep doing what they got to go do, because they are the driving forces, all the skill guys, and we talk about them a lot, and they get name in the stat sheet and stuff like that. But without those five dudes, man, we would be having an entirely different conversation on this team. Like,
Right.
entirely different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Doc, how do you see the game playing out?
Well, I think first and foremost, when you're playing against a team, because Kansas State has always had a reputation of being tough, hard nosed. So when you deal with, and they got some pride, but you got to kick them in the face. I mean, right off the bat, you got to punch them you got to punch them in the face, and then you got to put your foot on that neck and you snap it. And I mean that. Well, if Zach's been around me and he knows, like, I'm a big believer in that. And so I think that's what you're going to see. I think senior night's good and bad. I remember speaking of DeMar, he came out and dropped his first damn ball, and Whit looked down on senior night. Actually, he caught it a yard out of bounds. Just had his foot out of, I won't ever forget it, on our sideline. And Whit came down with that stare and asked me, "What is he doing? What's going on?" It's like, "Coach, it's senior night." He's, "I don't give a damn about senior night." I can't remember who we were playing, but I was like, "He'll be all right. He'll be fine, Coach. I got it." But it's an emotional time. It is, because the reality sets in. This is my last time in the stadium. Damn, I'm not going to be a Ute much longer. I fought with these guys, and I agree 100% with everybody else. My thing is, um, I love Bird Ficklin, or that kid. Like I said, he's got J.U.Ice, but all I've been hearing is how well he throws the ball. And so, without taking away from winning the game by a healthy margin, because I think that matters at the point we are now, the way this college football playoffs is coming and all that. So I think that matters. We'd be a fool to sit here and say it doesn't. Um, I would love to see that, because I coached with Jason Beck and Markey out the Y, and I recruited and coached coached Micah Simon one year. So I know that offense. And one of the things I told Zach about this, when you play a go fast offense, it simplifies your pass schemes because you just don't have time to work on it. You don't. And now their run game is so good. I know Jim. Jim is freaking, like, he's got all these damn ideas on the run game. He used to get on my damn nerves. Okay, I get it. That, can we talk about the pass game? I'm a receivers guy. I'm a pass game coordinator and all that stuff. I like, okay, my guys are blocked. Now, can we really talk about what's important and how to throw the ball? But no, I'm just kidding. I do think you'll see some explosive plays on offense. I think you got to play the Fricklin kid. I think that kid is different. Like that kid, he has it. I mean, like Cam Rising, was just, he had it. Cam wasn't just like the superior athlete. He threw the ball. It looked ugly half the time, but God, that dude had it. Like, when you put him on the field, he has something you can't coach. And I know Beckham probably running around high fiving himself. That shit ain't coaching. That's a player making plays. And that's what players do. Players play, coaches coach, and that kid is a playmaker. So I think what you're going to see, what you got to be careful of is not getting too fancy. Like, I like the fly sweep. I would like to see 13 line up and take an inside zone or two. I think as you get along, they get coached too, and so you got to switch it up with him a little bit and show a different look. But I think you're going to see a Utah team come out focused. They're all black. I mean, guys, I've been in a lot of stadiums, and I'm gonna tell you, I know it's 53,000 or whatever the hell it is, but that is one hell of a 53,000 crowd. I mean, it's electric, and they'll come out ready to go. And I'll be shocked if they don't punch them square in the freaking face and put lights out by halftime. I would be shocked. And if I was talking to the team, that's exactly why I tell them. If you punch them in the face, or I'm gonna have to start punching you all in the face. Somebody getting punched today. Let's go. Let's lock and load. And they better come out with that piss eye. You know,
Hey,
that's
no Troy Williams situation, all right?
no, that's my dude, man. I love that dude. There's a lot behind that, and man, we could tell a story. Like Steve Smith was at a practice, and I'll just tell you this, that with Troy and Troy Taylor and Steve Smith, that was Steve Smith is real now. He's one of them. That's all I'm gonna tell you. He is that is a dog. And so, but that is, I just expect them to come out and play. And I do expect the defense to be on fire. Like the one thing I know about Witt, like you can screw up a lot of things, but you give up big plays on defense, and he's always going to stand up in the meeting, you know. And Zach knows. I mean, shit, in those team meetings, you walk out there on offense, you feel good, but shit, you like, damn, we did do something. But defense always played great, so they didn't get that this week, and so I can tell you right now. Kyle Whittingham had freaking ears pinned back. The mullet is smoothed down. That joker ready to go because his defense going to play. I promise you that.
So the one thing I would say, I mean, I expect Utah to win handily, right? The one thing that they need to be conscious of is Kansas State does make you pay off of turnovers. Okay.
Sure.
And so that's the one thing, especially with it being senior night, you know, you want to put the foot on the throat, right? And just go full throttle. But there's still that aspect of it at the start of being conscious of something like that, right? But again, I fully expect Utah to win this and win this handily. I don't know that it's in the 50s again, even though Kansas State is not a good football team, right? I mean, I would say, I mean, my prediction, I'm gonna go. Let's go 45-13. Like what's crazy is the Kansas State guy we talked to has a rough time even seeing where they score a touchdown. And so I'm giving them more credit than him, which is wild, right? But okay, last thing for you guys, and then we are out of here. Let's keep this one short and sweet. Just give me your opinion on it, yes or no. And then this is something that we can kind of talk about, you know, in the podcasts over the next few weeks, right? Okay. Instead of the over-unders this week, is this Kyle Whittingham's last home game?
I say no. I say no. I think I always said last year, personally, I thought, I mean, not last year, next year. This next year would be his next one. I think I've always said I felt like he wanted to kind of just usher in Coach Scally a certain way, right? Kind of obviously being in a new conference and stuff like that, and now dealing with the NIL stuff, which I can only imagine is a huge curveball into how recruiting has had to happen and things of that nature, right? So I've always said next year would be the year. So I don't see this being the year. I think this year's panned out really good. I feel like the team has been good, and I thought it would be good. I didn't know they might be sitting here where they at right now with a still chance with everything to fight for and everything like that. So I think next year, you know, they finish strong these last two games of this season, and you know they punch their ticket into that college football playoffs and kind of see where things may fall then, because obviously you get into that college football playoffs, you know, recruiting changes, NIL stuff changes, donations change, right? All those different things change, and shoot, maybe he sees a small window where he can do something one more year, and then I think he'd give up the Scally. So I'm gonna say no.
I'll let Coach Holliday have the last stab at this question, but I agree with Zach. I don't see it for those reasons, and just being around that man, it just feels like last year just was such a low, right? And so he obviously came back. I think where things are at with the program right now, if they weren't in such a position, probably the narrative is different. But I don't think you push a great coach like Coach Whittingham out or that man ain't walking out after this year. Like I don't see that at all. And so, yeah, I just fully agree with what Zach's saying, and I think they're building too much heading into next season. Where I see that possibly something where they're going to segue Coach Scally more into that role.
All right, Doc, you know the
Hell
mind
no.
of Whittingham
Hell no.
extremely well.
He ain't leaving. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it up front. Hell no. They won't say it. They're being politically correct. But let me tell you something. You got your quarterback coming back. You got groceries on the table, and you got a chance to win the conference, go to the playoffs. Hell no. Witt ain't leaving like that. He ain't leaving the groceries on the table like that. And you all can say whatever the hell anybody else want to say. Witt wants to beat the shit out of TDS. He ain't. I said it last year when they lost that game, and everybody was so, oh no. I was like, Witt ain't leaving like that. That ain't Kyle Whittingham. I mean, I could see him doing it if his wife just absolute had to do it. But you talking about you got the best quarterback returning healthy that you've had. You have a freshman backing him up. Now, the one way I could see him leaving is if he couldn't get the money to maintain the roster and him getting frustrated with that look, ain't nobody gonna tell Kyle Whittingham what to do. I'm just telling y'all right now. That you ain't forcing him out. The Wit will dig in like a freaking a bear in hibernation. He digging all the way in that hole. He bunkering down. And when you start crawling in that hole, that joker coming out with a bazooka. Damn an Uzi, he blowing your head straight off. So I just don't see him with what he has coming back. And he's having fun again. I've talked to him. He's having fun. You can't be around Marky at the wire and not have fun. I'm just telling you. Because that is 100% fool. That is one of my closest friends. And he's going to be in there laughing, singing. And you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Them doofus ass raps he have. But it's fun. Like he's giving Wit a side. I told Wit when they all got hired, I said, Coach, they just added 5 years to your life, your coaching life. You're going to have fun. Like they're going to have fun. I remember Jim Harding calling me and saying, well, you didn't tell me it was going to be like this. I wasn't expecting this. They playing music, they doing. I was like, yeah, they love ball, man. They're not going to be uptight. And so to answer your question, hell no. I don't think Kyle Whittingham's leaving. I just don't. And yeah, I mean, you can say, oh, they're going to usher in Morgan. You can go through all that shit you want to. Witt ain't leaving. Witt ain't thinking about that, oh, I'm going to usher in Morgan. Witt thinking about, I'm winning my ass. I'm getting in these playoffs, and I'm taking my best shot. Damn all that other stuff. Y'all, that's all politically correct. I know y'all all at Utah. You guys say the right thing. Hell no, Witt ain't leaving. Just my opinion.
Yeah, hey, all three of you guys line up. I love hearing that. It's been a back and forth for me this year. I'm doing the whole 6-7 thing, right, guys? Is out the kids are obsessed with right now, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, this used to be the major league Pedro Serrano thing, but yeah, no, it's been back and forth for me. I feel like you guys are saying that's how I've felt lately. It's going to be really, really interesting, and I really do kind of hope that when he does make up his mind on that it's something that he gives the fans and some of his former players some time to be able to celebrate and give him his flowers. But I mean, at the same time too, the man is not built that way. When he's
No,
done, he's done.
He ain't all that announcing, and Witt ain't the type to come out and say, oh, this is my. We're gonna walk away and shake the hands of the president. Well, I mean, I guess if him and Harlan are still talking, because if Witt don't get what he want, he ain't talking to you. And so he shake Harlan's hand, and he'll definitely Mr. Eccles, he's going to shake his hand. He'll hug all his coaches, and Witt is done. He'll be done. He'll get on that damn. If it was 90 degrees out there, he'd be on that Harley Davidson taking off at 90 miles an hour, or come around on that damn bike he used to ride, running people over, or the Batmobile that he had one time. Like that guys, Whit is a special human being. Like he is, in more ways than one. I mean, he's a different breed of cat. But no, if he gets what he wants, and I mean, yeah, Scally is like a son to him and all that, but shit. Whit about one thing. Whit want to win. Whit want to go out. Like, if you were losing right now, Whit may sit back and say, I suck. It's time. But no. Now that he's turned this thing and can see forward, leaving that quarterback out there, no, I just don't see it. Just like he would have went out with Cam Rising if they won, I guarantee you. But
Yeah.
now that he's right here, he's he went down and got baptized again. He ready to go.
Love it. All right. Well, Doc, we need to have you on a bunch more, man. But I'm gonna let you guys be on your way. So, Zach, man, how do we always close these things?
Yeah, man. Coach, appreciate you hopping on with us and giving us. This is definitely the most we've laughed, I think, on this pod without question. But yeah, no, appreciate you guys always tuning in and listen to what we got to say and talk about and things of that nature. Make sure you guys continue to like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Apple Pod, and Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. And always make sure you share with a friend. Go Utes.
Appreciate
Go
you.
Utes. Hey, Zach, I love you, brother. Y'all take care, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
Coach.
Yep. All right, Derek, take care.
Yup.
See ya.
Hey, Alex, don't call me no more. Have a good day.
You too, buddy.
Welcome to the players' lounge. Yeah. When no other moment, man, it can't compare. Due to the obvious, people look at me and then they envious. And they the ones that be grinning and acting the friendliest. Yeah. Things are moving in the right direction. Making sure I'm keeping things up in the right perspective.